and thank you for joining us on the program from the National Assembly. I am Lami Ali. When the House reconvened for plenary this week, the Speaker, House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila, addressed members on the recent violence in Oyo State, during which he called for speedy and thorough investigation into the matter. Let's now join the House members in chambers.
I write to formally notify you, sir, and all members of the House of my defection from the All Progressive Grand Alliance, ABGA, to the All Progressive Congress. My decision is due to the leadership crisis which has factionalized the party and has created a state of division at all levels of the party. Hence my decision to defect after due consultation with my people. I would like to especially thank the Honorable Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, the Deputy Speaker, Right Honorable Idris Ahmed Wase, the Acting National Chairman of the APC, His Excellency Mai Mala, Senator George Akume, Senator Kashim Shettima, the Executive Governor of Kano State, His Excellency Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, and the Executive Governor of Borno State, His Excellency Professor Babagana Zulum, for their efforts in making this possible. Sincerely, Honorable Onu Onyeche, blessed. You're welcome to the APC. I, Honorable Yakubu Shehu Abdullahi, member representing Bauchi Federal Constituency at the National Assembly, was sponsored by the People's Redemption Party, under which I won my election into the Federal House of Representatives during the 2019 general election. However, I am defecting from People's Redemption Party, the political party that sponsored my election into the House before the expiration of my tenure, to All Progressive Congress, due to the division, internal wrangling in the party, and factions in the People's Redemption Party. It is no longer news that presently the situation at the national headquarters of the party is worrisome. At the national level of the People's Redemption Party, two people are claiming the national chairmanship of the party, and they are one, Mr. Falalu Bello, whose national secretariat is at number 8 Ogabi Street, adjacent military police headquarters, Garki, Abuja, and two, Professor Sule Bello, whose national secretariat is at Abdul Qadir Balarabe Musa National Secretariat, number C14 F10 Close, CITEC Estate Jabi. This ugly situation of division and faction at the national level of the party is denting the image of the party and making its future grim, bleak, and dismal. At the Bauchi state level of the party, the crisis and or division in the party is more worrisome. Three people are claiming the chairmanship of the party at the state level, and they are Barrister Ahmed Umar Farouk, Aliu Shehu, and Dan Chiroma. The leadership crisis in Bauchi state has also led to litigations as court of law, wherein members of the party are challenging the chairmanship of various parties. Also, in a letter dated 24th, one of the factions of the party in Bauchi State suspended me from the party. With crisis, divisions, and factions rocking the PRP at the national level and Bauchi State of the party, I am defecting from PRP to All Progressive Congress in line with Section 681G of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Signed, Honorable Yakubu Shehu Abdullahi Wakilim Boni. Congratulations, Honorable.
The unfortunate killings and destruction of property, the Speaker noted, are manifestations of the danger Nigerians face as a people. He commiserated with all victims, adding, that the House will work to avoid a reoccurrence, just as it aligns itself with the initiative of Mr. President of setting up a committee mandated to build the peace. The House, he says, will constitute a group to work with the committee.
Honorable colleagues, the House of Representatives has neither command nor control of the country's security apparatus. We cannot act to deploy men and equipment to gather intelligence, enforce laws fairly, and take all other actions necessary to prevent breakdowns of law and order and the wanton violence that follows its wake. However, the House is a microcosm of our beloved country. And here in these chambers, we represent every tribe and religion, creed and religion, and every region. And we owe a duty to the people we serve to do the things we believe sincerely in our hearts can improve the circumstances of their lives. Today, we serve that duty by calling on the Nigerian police force to conduct a speedy and thorough investigation into the recent violence in Oyo State, to allow for prosecution and punishment of those who instigated and participated in the killings and destruction of the property. The committees on police affairs and justice are mandated to communicate the House's position to the Inspector General of Police. His Excellency, the President Muhammad Buhari, GCFR, has announced a committee led by the National Security Advisor, Major General Mohammed Babagana Mongunu, to hold peace and unity consultations across the country. The committee will engage governors, traditional rulers, religious leaders, security agencies, indigenous and settled groups across the states of the Federation to enact resolutions aimed at building an honorable peace in our land. The House of Representatives aligns with this initiative, and we will constitute a working group to participate in these consultations. We will work together to examine the cultural, religious, and localized conflicts over land and history that are often at the root of internal security challenges and violent upheavals such as occurred in Oyo State last week and other parts of the country over the years. Finally, I urge all of those who have large followership of people who listen to them and respect their voices to be more circumspect about the information they share, the language they use, and the conversations they enable. The words we use about each other can have outside consequences on our nation's peace and stability, because words have the power to build and also to destroy. And to political leaders, let me reiterate that we have a greater responsibility to keep the peace in our country. And to do that, we must first commit ourselves to the cause of equal justice and fair treatment for all. Only then can we wage peace with resolve, secure in the knowledge that with peace, a more prosperous union is within reach. God bless you, and God bless Federal Republic of Nigeria. Take any public petition, if there is any, honorable.
This morning I rise to lay a petition from one Oladimeji Ekemba and Co. on the issuance of a letter of no objection, a waiver that is unknown to the Pharmacists Council of Nigerian Act, Cap P17 of 2004, asking the House to take steps to protect Parliamentary Act. I seek the leave of this House to lay this petition.
Thank you. You may lay your petition.
The petitioner, Mr. Speaker, is seeking the help of this House to wade into the matter. May I seek the leave of the House to lay the petition?
Yeah, please go ahead.
The House will resolve to investigate the utilization of the billions of naira made available to agencies by the federal government as intervention fund from 2015 to 2020, as moved by Representative Henry Wauba.
Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I rise under Order 8 through 4 to move a motion of urgent public importance to investigate the intervention funds that have been released to agencies by the federal government from 2015 to 2020. With your kind permission, Mr. Speaker, I seek the leave of the House to suspend our rules to enable me to take this motion immediately. I so move. Rising to move on a motion on the need to investigate the disbursement of special funds received by agencies of the federal government. The House notes that the federal government is constrained to revert to external and internal borrowings to augment domestic savings, balance of payment deficits, and shortfalls in revenue. Also notes that the federal government has also been borrowing quite substantially to fund projects and a range of public interventions. Aware that some of the funds established by the federal government between 2015 and 2020 and the amounts released include the following. 1. Special Intervention MDGs 2015, 7.6 billion. Contingency, 22.4 billion. MDG Special Projects, 7.2 billion. Special Intervention 2020, 39.9 billion. Special Intervention Constituency Projects, 3 billion. Capital Contingency, 15.8 billion. Further aware that other interventions include National Water Rehabilitation Project, National Agriculture Technology Program, and salary bailouts to states, payments for fertilizer, state water supply project, state agriculture project, and Fadama project. Concerned that despite the huge amount of funds invested, citizens continue to undergo untold hardship. Also concerned that despite the huge loans to boost the economy, Nigeria still slipped into its second recession in less than 5 years. Further concerned that those agencies in charge of disbursing some of the special funds are unable to give proper accounts of how the monies were utilized. Worried that most of the funds were not captured in the appropriation processes. Thus, the National Assembly was not made aware of such monetary allocations. Also worried that alleged fraudulent practices by agencies of government are sabotaging the efforts of the federal government and, if left unchecked, may lead to total collapse of the country's economy. The House resolves to set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the disbursement of funds received by agencies of the federal government from 2015 to 2020 with a view to ensuring that such funds were properly utilized. I so move.
My name is Representative Taiwo Oluga. I speak for the entire people of Iriwole Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from Osun State. I was about to raise the point of order before you called me, so I'm glad, I'm excited that you can see in between me. So I come under...
No, before your point of order. Before your point of order, just contribute for 10 seconds to the motion.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, I rise this morning to support the motion.
No, that has already been supported. Okay, you want to support it?
Yes, I want to support the motion that it is very, very important and germane for us as a country.
You know, talk to the chair. Don't talk to Raji. Talk to the chair.
Mr. Speaker, am I protected, sir?
Not right now. Not at the moment. Just don't talk to Raji. Talk to the chair and the House.
I said point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Contribute to the debate.
Mr. Speaker.
Oh, you don't know what it's about. Okay.
Mr.
All right.
Speaker, I was about raising point of order, sir. I was about raising point. I have the privilege.
Your point of order will come after the contribution to the debate.
Allow me to raise my point of order, sir.
Your point of order. So you have no contribution to the debate. Okay. So we'll just put the question. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Luga, do you still have a point of order? What is it?
Privileges are the rights enjoyed by the House collectively and by members of the House individually conferred by the legislature.
What's your privilege that has been broken?
Powers, yes. Sir.
What's the privilege? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As the chairman committee women in parliament, we cannot but say this on behalf of respected woman, the woman of substance, Dr. Mrs. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, that we congratulate her, and on behalf of all Nigerians, we celebrate her for coming on board to be the Director General of the World Trade Organization, being the first female ever, and being the first African that will come on board to take that position. And I'm using this medium to thank our government, led by our President Muhammadu Buhari, for supporting her during the struggle. And at the same time, we are thanking all the international communities for throwing weight behind her to emerge as the Director General of the World Trade Organization. So we celebrate her, all the women, especially the women folks. All Nigerians, we celebrate her and we congratulate her and we wish her a successful tenure in office. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
We acknowledge the feat and thank you for bringing it up, the feat of the achievement of Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. She's doing it she's made us proud as a country, and we congratulate her. Thank you.
I'm standing on under Order 8, Rule 4, matter of urgent public importance, on a motion to caution public officials against being inflammatory and divisive in the country, sir.
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
Motion to caution public officials against being inflammatory and divisive in the country, sir.
Yeah, I think that was even part of my address remarks this morning.
The basic idea of being inflammatory or divisive is any drastic policies, statements, actions, and the like that are capable of provoking aggressive reactions from the members of the general public. Also notes that in recent times, we have had governors within the country making different statements in the case of insecurity within the country, especially that of the 13th of February 2021, where the governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, a public official, who should, based on the insecurity problems in the country, need to have been careful with statements and action, which is reported to have justified the illegal bearing of firearms by some Fulani headsmen, which has caused national outrage. Aware that the Constitution does not grant any individual or group of people the right to bear sophisticated arms, but only a licensed sophisticated shooting range to that effect from the Inspector General of the Nigerian Police. Further aware that even if the IG were to grant license, the IG's power cannot contravene the provision of Chapter F2, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 004 Firearms Act, which classifies the arms AK-47 carried by some headsmen as ascribed by the governor illegal and prohibited. Concerned that the inflammatory and divisive statement will lead to enormous belief that the government supports the crimes of carrying prohibited firearms. Concerned also that this situation can easily lead to armed conflict, as other groups, such as farmers and defenseless citizens, will consider it as a threat to their safety and to arm themselves with AK-47. Concerned further that if all public officials, regardless their positions or status, are not cautioned against inciting or provoking. Concerned further that if all public officials, regardless of their positions or status, are not cautioned against inciting or provoking the general public.
Silence, please. Silence, please.
The already tense situation in the country will lead to open hostilities. the House resolved to caution public officials against such statements and policies that can cause unrest in the country. 2, that the House leadership should interface with Nigerian Governors Forum, as most of these inflammatory statements are coming from Nigerian governors, so they should focus on possible solution in addressing insecurity in Nigeria, not blaming one another. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. When I refer to Oyo State and Ibadan, I did not mention his particular constituency where the incident is actually taking place. That's Honorable Muraino Ajibola, and I want it to be on record that Honorable Muraino Ajibola has had this motion since last week, which he wanted to move, but the House in its wisdom felt it was better that we allow this format. So Ibarakpa can be infused into my statement more particularly. Honorable Muraino, thank you very much. Public petitions, have you? We move on.
My name is Honorable Haruna Isa Dederi. I represent Kala Local Federal Constituency, and I'm from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, sir, I hold the brief of the Chairman, Public Petitions Committee, Mr. Honorable Jerry Alagos. Honorable Speaker, sir, honorable colleagues, I rise to move that the House do receive six reports of 6 committees of the public petitions. One is the report on the petition by First Synergy Resources Limited. The second, report on the petition by UC Obaragu and Co. The third, report on the petition by another petition by First Synergy Resources Limited. The fourth, report on the petition by Dr. Napoleon Aisueni JP. The fifth, report on the petition by Falode Oluyemi Oloyele. And the sixth, finally, report on the petition by Hussein Afolabi and Associates. Right, Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, I do move.
A bill for an act to amend the Trafficking in Persons Prohibition Enforcement and Administration Act and for later...
Order, please. Order, please.
542. B. A bill for an act to amend the Trafficking in Persons Prohibition Enforcement and Administration Act to make provisions for enhanced efficiency in the operations of the National Agency for the Prohibition and Trafficking in Persons and for related matters, HB 1054, and a bill for an act to amend the Trafficking in Persons Prohibition Enforcement and Administration Act number 4, 2015, to review the mode of appointment of the Director General of the agency, strengthen the composition of its governing board, and review the offenses and penal provisions and for related matters, HB 1154. I so move, Mr. Speaker, more responsive to criminal justice reform and for related matters, HB 944. B. A bill for an act to amend the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015 to eliminate the use of life-threatening gadgets on suspects by security agents according to international best practices and for related matters, HB 1108. C. A bill for an act to amend the Administration of Criminal Justice Act number 13, 2015 to further enhance the dispensation of justice in criminal proceedings in Nigeria and for related matters, HB 1162. D. A bill for an act to amend the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015 and for related matters, HB 1186. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
On the general principle of a bill for an act to amend the Nigerian Institute of Animal Science Act, Cap N160, laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Gideon Ogwani. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 7th July 2020, and I invite Honorable Ogwani to move that the bill be read a second time.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that a bill for an act to amend the Nigerian Institute of Animal Science Act, CAP 160, Laws of the Federation 2004, and for related matters, that this bill be read a second time, Mr. Speaker.
I rise to second the motion assembly moved by Minority Whip. I so second.
Support that the bill be read a second time, please say aye. Those against this say nay. Ayes have it. Arugwani, that's okay, Abi, so that we can move fast.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to amend the Nigerian Institute of Animal Science Act, CAP N160, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and for related matters, second reading.
Among bills that passed second reading are the bill seeking the establishment of Federal University of Education, Panshin Plateau State, from Representative Yusuf Gagdi.
Speaker, honorable members, my name is Honorable Yusuf Adamu Gagdi. I represent Panshin Kanke Kanam Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Plateau State. I rise, Mr. Speaker, to move that a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal University of Education, Panshin, Plateau State, Federal University of Education, Panshin, Plateau State, for the promotion and development of teacher education in Nigeria, and for other matters related, be read for second time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
The ayes have it. Honorable Gagdi, I think this is straightforward. Is it so much? Is it an establishment bill or an upgrade? It's not an establishment bill because we're trying to minimize establishment bills, as I said in my address. Is this an establishment bill or an upgrade from? Can you explain so that we know?
College of Education, Panshin, which is a degree awarding institution to Federal University of Education, sir.
So just a change of status. Okay, thank you. Those in support, please say aye. Aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it.
For the promotion and development of teacher education in Nigeria and for related matters, second reading.
Among bills that passed second reading are a bill to establish National Power Training Institute of Nigeria, sponsored by Representative Wale Raji.
National Power Training Institute of Nigeria, by creating an enabling framework for the operation and administration of the institute and for related matters. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Let us thank your deputy for coming to the rescue. The bill is referred to the Committee on Tertiary Education and Services. Fifth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to establish the National Power Training Institute of Nigeria by creating an enabling framework for the operation and administration of the institute, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable T.O. Raji. Honourable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Thursday, 6 February 2020, and I invite Honourable Olawale Raji to move that the bill be read a second time.
I represent the good people of a federal constituency of Lagos State. I rise to move the motion that a bill for an act to establish National Power Training Institute of Nigeria by creating an enabling framework for the operation and administration of the institute and for related matters. I so move, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Today, we are establishing an institute for a deregulated sector that this Honorable House passed a law for. This Honorable House in the 8th Assembly looked at it and feel that that sector should be deregulated. So what has the institute going to go? Patrolled by government, where the issues have been deregulated, by a functional, a regulatory system. So I don't see the relevance of the institute as of now. And first of all, the bill also did not emanate where that institute ought to be upgraded to, or that institute must be situated to. It has a really fundamental defect.
Where? Just to make him, because he did a lot of...
Yeah. First of all, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, Our rules are very clear on compendium, first of all, which was not supplied for us to know the detail. Two, a fundamental issue there is that power has been deregulated in this country. So creating an institute, my thinking, Mr. Speaker, is that this bill should be repealed. If there's an existing institute without a law, then you can't repeal. Government can use an executive power through a subsidiary legislation to be able to repeal such an institute. But now, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleague, there's no legal backing to an existing department of government. No. First of all, there's no legal backing for establishing a department. But secondly, Mr. Speaker, based on our law of the 7th Assembly, which were minority leaders of that time, which we created through Patrick from Edo State, that law deregulates any power issues to private sectors driven. So creating an institute, I don't see the importance of creating an institute that government have to fund for what he has deregulated. That's my clear. So I believe, Mr. Speaker, for us to understand this bill critically before it goes to second reading, I believe more information should be provided to convince the Parliament. The reason why, after government deregulating in the 7th Assembly, is coming forth again to fund another institute. To do what? That's my question, Mr. Speaker. So it's not a fundamental issue that we need to look critically.
Okay. Government has regulated. I'll allow Honorable to continue. Go ahead.
Okay. My name is Mohamed Tahir Monguno. I represent Marte Monguno, Ganze Federal Constituency of Borno State. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the arguments propounded by Honorable Osai is perverse. It doesn't.
Sorry, the argument by Honorable Osai is what?
It's perverse.
Perverse.
Yes. It goes to no issue.
Honorable Osai, the Chief Whip said your argument is perverse.
It's perverse. It goes to
That's
no
a very serious one. Continue.
It goes to no issue.
Go ahead.
It goes to no issue in the sense that this institute is already in existence. It is in Niger State. What this bill seeks to do is to give it legal teeth to back and to bite. It's already in existence. It's created by executive fiat. We are only invited by virtue of Section 4 of the 1999 Constitution and as amended, being a body that is vested with this responsibility of making laws, to bring it into existence by way of creating it legally by way of law. That is what this bill seeks to do. Then, with regard to the issue of the fact that the power sector has been deregulated. Yes, power sector has been deregulated. Okay, maybe it's because of my... Okay, I said, with regard, my argument is that this institute is already in existence. What this bill seeks to do is to give it legal teeth for it to operate within the confines of the law. Initially, it was created by an executive fiat. And then, with regard to the argument that the power sector has been deregulated and therefore government has no business in creating an institute, that argument does not hold water, because this institute its mandate is to train middle cadre manpower for the electricity sector. We have private universities, but that notwithstanding, we have the National Universities Commission to regulate the existence of universities. So this institute is only there to train manpower, middle level and junior level manpower in the electricity industry. So the issue of the power sector has been deregulated, and therefore government should hands off completely, does not arise ab initio. Thank you.
This sector, what you call it? Communications. Sorry, not PSA. Communications has been, there's a level of deregulation in the communications system, but you still have government's hand involved. Yes. So I think this is about training. This is about training, but we'll explore it. We'll interrogate it further. One or two speakers, and then we'll put the question. Honorable Bagos, is there anybody on this?
Mr. Speaker, first, there are a lot of institutions in Nigeria that government regulates their policies and modus operandi, even if they are being controlled by private sector. Take education sector, for instance. We have the National Commission for Colleges of Education that regulates and train the activities of private colleges of education in Nigeria. You have the National University Commission that regulates and equally trains the activities of private universities in Nigeria. In the oil sector, you have them. So, Mr. Speaker, I see nothing bad in establishing a training institute that will regulate or train the activities of power sector in Nigeria. More so that that institution is in existence. This bill seeks to provide a legal framework that will legitimize the operation of the existing institution. So, Mr. Speaker, I think my disrespected colleagues should understand that the bill is not seeking to establish a fresh institution that will add burden to the government, but to legitimize the existing training institution. So in my personal view, Mr. Speaker, the bill should be allowed to be read for a second time. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Bagos. 30 seconds so that we can move past.
In supporting this bill, Mr. Speaker, one of the major things that I have discovered and have seen when this bill and this institute is in place is that it's going to promote local content. If you look at the power sector, it's so filled with people, engineers from other countries in the name of expatriates. But this institute is going to promote local content by training our own people, making sure that the operators are well trained. And the power sector is one of the areas that we have major and serious issues. And if through this institute we are going to solve those problems, that whosoever is an operator and going to work in the power sector is being trained by our own institute, instead of us relying on expatriates for the private sector to employ. Is a win-win situation. So to me, having this institute is going to help us in a great deal. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Chiloka.
Mr. Speaker, just a few days ago or last week, you also spoke about the paucity of funds we have in the country and the need to regulate the amount of institutions we establish. That's one. Two is that for our non-ambiguity's sake, it could have been so straightforward if he had provided us with information regarding to this establishment. That would have saved us from all this back and forth. Because as it stands now, it's a bit ambiguous. We're not sure what the institute will do. We're not sure how it will be funded. We're not sure about the headship or leadership of the institute. So if he can provide us with that, we're sure that we can look at it. And I think that going forward, Mr. Speaker, like you said, it's important that we regulate how we establish institutes. Thank you.
The right thing to do according to our rules is to send it to the committee for public hearing. Let them bring their facts there. So at the end of the day, the fact will speak for itself. So I urge my colleagues that
thank you. Let's put the question. What is the information?
Mr. Speaker, the emphasis of this bill is legal framework. The institute we're talking about has already been in existence, and we've been providing funds for it year in, year out. So what he's saying is that we should provide a legal framework to back this budgetary allocation and the establishment of the institute. It's a very straightforward issue.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it. We should be slimming down government establishment bills unless they are critical to survival. We should look to minimizing them only because of the funds that you don't establish a bill without an institute without funds. But we also had in our rules the provision that we were supposed to attach financial implications At least we used to have that. Attach financial details to all establishment bills so that we will know what it's going to cost government. So whilst we're talking about reducing the cost of governance, we need to be mindful of the fact that establishment bills only blow up the cost of governance. So from now, please, if you are bringing an establishment bill, if you must bring an establishment bill, attach and debate the facts and figures in terms of the cost and the financial implications of establishing such an institute. It is based on that that we can know whether it's even feasible, financially feasible in the first place for government to do. So, bill referred to, where is it again? Yes. Well, the long title, the clerk will read the long title for us.
This National Power Training Institute of Nigeria by creating an enabling framework for the operation and administration of the institute and for related matters. Second reading.
All right. Bill read a second time and referred to the Committee on Power. Honorable colleagues, we are moving on to motions, and we only have, like I said, about 10 to 15 minutes left. So we'll take, I guess, one or two, as many as we can. Can we, in the interest of time, can we just go to I'll read the title of the motion and then we'll go straight to the prayers. Yes, abridged time, go straight to the prayers. The sixth order of the day is a motion on extension of time for the ad hoc committee on oil spill cleanups and remediation in the oil-producing states of Nigeria to conclude its assignment, standing in the name of Honorable Amiru Tukuru Idris. Honorable Idris is invited to move the motion. Honorable Idris, just go to your prayer, please.
Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I heard that the ad hoc committee on oil spills have been set up and programmed to seek input from major stakeholders, arrange a public hearing, and prepare for oversight some affected oil spills sites. My honorable Mr. Speaker, may wish to note that due to COVID-19 pandemic, activities were interrupted. So, Mr. Speaker, the committee wanted to have an extension of at least 8 weeks to conclude its assignment. Thank you very much.
Moved by my senior colleague, Honorable Amiru. I so second.
Seventh order of the day is a motion on need to address the worsening security situation in Isuikwato, Omuneochi, Federal Constituency, Abia State. Standing of Honorable Nkeruka Onyejocha. Honorable Onyejocha is invited to move the motion.
Called on the police to address security breaches in parts of Abia State as moved by House Deputy Chief Whip Nkiruka Onyejocha.
Need to address the worsening security situation in Isukwatu Munoch Federal Constituency, Abia State. The House notes that there is an increasing disturbing security situation in and around Isukwatu and Umunoch local government area of Abia State, which, unless urgent steps are taken, may degenerate to chaos and lawlessness. The House also notes that virtually all roads that lead to the areas have been taken over by criminals, killer headsmen, and bandits who lay siege on the people of the local government areas, maiming, robbing, kidnapping, raping and killing the people and travelers. The House is informed that there has not been a single day in the last 5 months that there were no reported cases of abduction, robberies, theft, and some form of criminality in and around the 2 local government areas, including the local government. And those criminal elements are so audacious that they operate in broad daylight and nighttime, mostly without hindrance from security operatives. The House is aware that victims of those murderous gangs range from poor peasant farmers, old and young people, travelers, traditional and political leaders, among others, and a case in point is that of one Mr. Obiajulu Oka, who was kidnapped together with his wife and driver on 2nd January 2021, which forced his family to pay a ransom of 22 million naira to secure their release. The House recalls that on 6th October 2020, in two separate incidents, the chairman Transition Committee of Isukwuato Local Government Area and the member representing Isukwuato Local Government Area in Abia State House of Assembly were attacked on the same road. And while the House member was lucky to escape with bullet-ridden vehicle, the Transition Committee chairman paid a ransom to regain his freedom from kidnappers. Worried that the people of Isukwuato Munochi can no longer go to farm or engage in other means of gaining livelihood for fear of being abducted, raped, or killed by the criminals. The House is cognizant that unless urgent and drastic measures are taken to halt the tide and combat those criminal enemies terrorizing the constituency, calamity may befall the area, as the people may tend to take the laws into their hands, which may lead to a state of anarchy. The House resolves to urge the Inspector General of Police to prioritize the security of those government areas and arrest the criminals terrorizing the constituency. The House urged the various security agencies to collaborate for the purpose of ensuring a safe and conducive environment in the constituency. The House mandates the Committee on Police Affairs to ensure compliance. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. The eighth order of the day on the need for the Independent National Electoral Commission to review upward the number of state constituencies in Oyo State, standing in the name of Honorable S. Ajibola Muraino and 13 other honorable members. Honorable Muraino is invited to move the motion.
The need for the Independent National Electoral Commission to review upward the number of state constituencies across the country raised by Representative Muraino Ajibola got the nod of House members.
I am Honorable Dr. Ajibola Muraino. I represent Ibarapa Central, Ibarapa North Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I'm from Oyo State. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I rise to move the motion on the need for the Independent National Electoral Commission to review upward the number of state constituencies in Oyo State from 32 to 40. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, in moving this motion, 13 other honorable members from Oyo State are with me. And Mr. Speaker, I want to say that the name of Honorable Tolulope Tiwalola Akande Shadipe should be so read because there is a typographical error there. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, the House notes that Section 112 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, provides that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, shall divide every state in the Federation into such number of state constituencies as is equal to 3 or 4 times the number of federal constituencies within the state. The House also notes that Section 91 of the Constitution provides that the House of Assembly of a state shall consist of 3 or 4 times the number of seats the state has in the House of Representatives, divided in a way to reflect, as far as possible, nearly equal population, provided that a House of Assembly of a state
Honorable Olubibi
of not less than
Kabiyesi,
24.
Please step down. It's strictly imposed today.
members.
Honorable Olubibi Kabiyesi, please step down. Please.
Further notes that Section
Kabiyesi
114 of the Constitution
Honorable Olubibi
Chief Whip, can I stay?
that INEC shall review the division of every state into constituencies.
Chief Whip, can I stay? Can they stay? No. Okay.
They should step down. Step down.
Into constituencies at intervals of not less than 10 years, and may alter such constituencies under the provisions of this constitution to such extent as it may consider desirable in the light of the review. Aware that Oyo State currently has 32 state constituencies and 14 federal constituencies, namely Onara, Sukegbeda, Iseyin, Sukajola, Waido, Waitesiwaju, Ibadan Northeast, Southeast, Lagelu, Sukakiyele, Barapa East, Sukido, Barapa North, Uluyole, Atisbo, Shaki West, Ibadan Northwest, Southwest, Barapa Central, Barapa North, Afidio, Atiba, Oyo East, Oyo West, Ogolua, Surulere, Oluyole, Ogomosho North.
Honorable Murano, please go to the prayers, please. It's 10:47, 12:47. Prayer.
The House resolves: 1. To urge the Independent National Electoral Commission to commence the process of reviewing upward the number of state constituencies in Oyo State by creating additional 8 state constituencies to comply with the provisions of Section 112 to 114 of the 1999 Constitution. 2. Mandate the Committee on Electoral Matters to ensure compliance and report back within 6 weeks for further legislative action. Right Honorable Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I move in terms of my motion papers. I beg to move.
Honorable Prince Rotimi Agunsoye, representing Koshope Federal Constituency of Lagos, I rise to second the motion and I want to move for an amendment.
What's the amendment?
The amendment is that prayer number 1 to read that of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to commence the process of reviewing upward the number of state constituencies in Nigeria instead of Oyo State by creating additional constituencies. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So you want to ride on Honorable Murano's hard work.
Thank you, Mr.
To
Speaker.
cover your own state.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You want to ride on the poor man's hard work to cover your own state.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
What if INEC does not have the money and there's only one state they can do?
I'm on my feet to support the secondment and the amendment as proposed by Honorable Prince Rotimi. I so second it. Perfect in order, all over the country.
Okay, those in support of the amendment that it be extended to all federal constituencies, even though the work was done by Honorable Murano from Oyo State. Those in support of that amendment, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Those in support of the motion as amended, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it.
Some House members at the end of plenary reacted to the remark of the Speaker, House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila, on the recent security breach in Oyo State and sued for peaceful coexistence among various communities.
If you look at the first line of the first national anthem that we have, which says, despite our religious background and ethnic background, in brotherhood we stand. When we start looking at being our brother's keepers, when we start respecting customary laws in wheresoever we find ourselves, by so doing, we will really take the brotherhood nature of each and every one of us, respect one another. So to me, if despite our religious background, despite our ethnic background, in brotherhood, we should be able to stand as a united people.
Iganga, the epicenter of the latest crisis between herdsmen and farmers is a part of Ibarapa North Federal Constituency. For a very long time, from the first day of plenary of this 9th House of Reps, specifically on the 13th of June 2019, I have been moving motions on the insecurity in that area. Of course, I have moved several of them as the voice of my constituents, to the extent that even by December, I moved the last one on the killing of Dr. Aborode. And when we resumed this time around, like the Speaker rightly observed at plenary, I brought another motion in respect of the crisis that erupted again from the latter part of December till January in Ignaga and other parts of Ibarapa Central, Ibarapa North, and even Ibarapa East local government. In the wisdom of leadership, like the Speaker rightly said today, the Speaker believed that it should be allowed to make a general request for the IG to do appropriate investigations, and that he will also ensure that he complements the federal government reconciliation team by having a complementary team of that nature from the House of Representatives. I am sure that it is the motion that I brought last, which the Speaker referred to at plenary, that made him to make that all-encompassing statement. I believe that we should, to the best of our ability as Nigerians, do all we can to ensure that peace reigns supreme. And I believe that in the spirit of the way we've been living together, even before now, we should do our best to ensure that peace reigns supreme. And I appeal to all Nigerians, to my constituents, Ibarapa Central, Ibarapa North Federal Constituency, to even the people from Ibarapa East local government, which is a part of Honorable Yemi Taiwo's federal constituency for Ido and Ibarapa East, and the whole of other parts of Oyo State, particularly Ibadan, where we also had the latest, most recent crisis, that our people should try to do their best to live in peace. And we continue to pray and work hard towards it so that peace can reign supreme in this country.
Like I will always say, as a trained conflict manager and a student of security and strategic studies, I don't believe there is ethnic or religious conflict in Nigeria. They may appear ethnic or religious, but the real soul of those activities, crises, are political. When you are contesting election, PDP, APC, ABGA, you see people of different ethnic group harmonizing and working together for a political interest. And when it comes to issues of insecurity, you will now hear communities in one state or another fighting another communities in one state. They are all political. They are politically motivated. But until and unless, again, government do the needful by educating the common man on the street to understand, one, you should not be used to achieve any political sentiment by initiating issues that will lead to loss of life and properties of the citizenry. We must understand that just like politicians, some politician will go and campaign for people irrespective of religion, irrespective of tribe, irrespective of zone, irrespective of region, Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, working together, calling themselves. Why is there no that commitment on the side of the political office holders, just like you discharge those engagements during electioneering? If there is sincerity And the political office holders in Nigeria doesn't want those things to happen. They would have done it the way they do during political campaigns, to educate people, to bring people together, and to tell people the desire to live in peace with one another. There won't be any crisis. I am sure government is trying its best, but it is not good enough to say that government is doing better in remedying some of those situations, including the National Assembly, which I am part of. We need to increase our speed limits by calling different communities to order. We need to equally talk to ourselves. If it comes to election, the governor of Kaduna and my state governor of Plateau will have the same strategy to prosecute. I gave example with my governor because I don't want anybody to misrepresent me. Will have the same strategy or similar strategy to prosecute their political intention. But when it comes to issues of insecurity, because of sentiment, because of politics, you discover that the governor of Zamfara and the governor of Kaduna have different policies and principles toward addressing insecurity. Why? Then go back to the constitution. What is their roles as governors? What is our roles as public office holders? Primarily, to provide for the welfare and the security of the citizenry. And if people are killed, who are you going to provide for his welfare? And if people are killed, where is the complement of that section 4 that talk about the security of the people? It's defeated. So I think Nigerians, the political office holders own Nigerians a lot. Morally, we are suffocated, and we need to wake up and do the needful in educating the people and in making the security, the peace of this country a priority. The issues is not in the present administration. These are security situations that built up from time immemorial. Government refused to address issue of infrastructure. Government in the past refused to lay foundation to eradicate poverty. Government in the past refused to lay foundation for adequate social amenities like hospitals, schools, and what have you. When people are not educated, they say a lawless community is a hopeless community. People become lawless because there is no thing doing for the people. The industrialization is dead. Policies of government, the policy that has to do with, education, and what our health system are nowhere to be found. So in that kind of situation where you get the Almajiris in the northern part of the country occupying the major angles of our streets, and in the situation where you have the militants in the south that are following from one pipelines to another because of poverty, because of education, because of lack of basic social amenities, because government have failed, you expect the security situation to be instigated beyond the level even we are seeing it today. So definitely the security architecture are overwhelmed. Do they have the platform to provide adequate defense for the Nigerian public? Ask yourself question. Do the Nigerian security architect, the police, the army, the navy, the air force, the civil defense, the immigration, call them the custom, do they have the infrastructure and basic platform to be able to provide safety for the Nigerian people? They do not have. And whose fault is that? Political office holders, including myself. So until we go back to the drawing boards and see this thing genuinely, irrespective of any sentiment, and come up with a genuine position, do not hope that issue of insecurity in Nigeria is going to be solved in a distant time. Until and unless there is commitment, there is genuineness in the part of everybody, including the citizens themselves. National Assembly resolutions are never respected. Only few. You will pass resolution on a committee put in place and ask agencies to implement those resolutions. They are thrown away. They are never respected. How many resolutions have we passed regarding to insecurity? More than 200. How many of those resolutions are implemented? There should be respect among the three arms of government. Nigeria operates democratic trinity, where you have the legislature, the judiciary, and the executive. So everybody should be allowed to do its job. But the Constitution equally mentioned the legislature as the first arm of government because of its strategic importance. When resolutions are passed and they are not being respected, I equally blame the parliament, because the power is equally donated to them to sanction anybody that doesn't respect its own position. So, executive arm of government is not about Mr. President. What about the agencies that are responsible for the implementation of those positions taken by? You don't expect Mr. President to be in all the departments of the executive. If they do not do it, and the parliament decide to use one ministry as a good example, let me tell you, tomorrow any resolution that are passed are going to be respected. Come to our budget. How free is the National Assembly is to provide the needed support for the security budgets after being submitted by the federal government? They gave you envelope budget, a budget that you will strive to expand it. It's going to be very difficult. And look at the budgets of other agencies like CBN, like NCC, like FCT, those independent departments of the executive that have their own independent budgets. Compare it with the security budget of this country. You will know that we have a lot of things to do.
Representative Wale Raji also elaborated the merits of the National Power Institute of Nigeria Establishment Bill, which passed second reading.
The institute has been in existence way back in 2009, and actually it came into being in March 2009 as a result of the deregulation of the power sector, but as a result of the privatization of the power sector, the need for manpower for an institute like NAPTIN to provide training needs, to meet the training needs of the power industry, was recognized early enough, and that brought into being NAPTIN. But it's been in existence since 2009, like I said. It's been provided for annually in the budget, in fact, up to this 2021. But there's no legal framework for its existence. So it is this irregularity that this bill seeks to correct. And the institute mainly is identify the capacity need of the power industry, the gaps in capacity, skills of those of the operatives within the sector, and then fill the gap, provide the necessary manpower needs of the sector, So among other functions, but principally, it is to be a training institute that will provide the technical manpower, for the power industry. The power sector has been deregulated. It's now run by the private organizations, but then there are regulatory agencies, and this institute is also to provide the necessary support, for the industry in the area of manpower development, which is key, for those who are even involved in the regulation of the industry and those that are in the industry providing services, in the power sector. So it is both for the public sector operators and the private sector operators, because all of them, they require the necessary skills and training, for optimum performance.
In the concluding part of this episode of the program, we bring to you our engagement with the chairman of the House Committee on Public Accounts, Representative Oluwoleoke, on the activities of the committee in the last couple of months.
The Auditor General of the Federation, pursuant to Section 85 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, had rendered his reports up to 2018. Part 1 of 2018. Part 2 of 2018 is being awaited. Part 2 of Auditor General's report deals with Federation account and financial statement of the Accountant General of the Federation. Part 1 deals with the conventional, MDAs under the federal government. So we resolved for the first time to consider Part B, because what my predecessor have done was to consider Part 1, Part A, so to say. But this time around, we resolved to consider all the outstanding Part 2. That is the Auditor General queries on the Federation account. We started from 2014. So we intend to clear all the outstanding queries. Usually these queries borders on the accounts of the major revenue generation agencies of government. Revenue that accrue to the Federation, that is shared between the three, among the three tiers of government: local, state, and federal government. And these agencies are NNPC, DPR, Federal Inland Revenue Services, Nigeria Customs Services, and Mining Cadastral Office. So we have queries. The General has raised a lot of queries on these agencies, and we have invited them to defend the queries. I must commend Nigerian Customs. Nigerian Customs, each time you invite them, they appear. As a matter of fact, it's on record that Nigerian Customs have answered all their queries on Federation account from 2014 to 2017. It's on record. Similarly, DPR has also caused appearance to defend their queries up to 2017. NNPC is where we have issues. The ED Finance, gentleman that I respect so much, once appeared on behalf of NNPC, and that was all. We've written severally and they've asked them to appear. It's one excuses or the other. The most painful part of it is that some of the queries also affects the subsidiaries of NNPC, like NAPIMS, NNPC Retails, Nigerian Petroleum Development Company, Benicity, Nigerian Gas Company, and so many of their subsidiaries. In the case of FRS, they have a lot of queries they are yet to answer, even though the chairman has not appeared, but I keep on sending one senior director, coordinating director. We resolved to admit the gentleman is sent because we felt that NAMI, the chairman, the chief executive, is just assuming office. It's not too long he took over, but I wish he will quickly familiarize himself with all the issues on the queries and come and defend them, all of them. So then we have Mining Cadastral Office. The DG there too, he appeared once and he has been writing, giving excuses here and there. We can't run a nation like this. We have to make progress. We have to make progress. You have to account for every dime that belongs to the Federation. And on the side of the Part A, Part 1 report, you have literally a lot of agencies, tertiary institutions, and banks. One of such is Bank of Industry. When we read the query raised by the Accountant General, Auditor General of the Federation, we felt that there are some of these banks that we shouldn't be dragging in the mud. I came from organized private sector. For example, you are asking Bank of Industry to remit surplus to the CRF after the federal government has taken its dividends. You can't run a bank like that. You are more or less asking the bank to fold up. So we cleared the Bank of Industry in respect of that, and then we wrote to CBN and the Federal Minister of Finance and to confirm if they are in receipt of dividends that Bank of Industry has paid to them. This bank also appeared, the Federal Mortgage Bank also caused appearance. Yes, they have a lot of years arrears, but I think they've made up. But the truth is that they violated the relevant financial regulations rules by not rendering accounts as at when due. But you can't hold the new person responsible. You have to look for the person who occupied the office for several years and failed to render accounts. We also have FEMA. FEMA will order the Auditor General of the Federation to conduct performance audit. Financial audit is not enough because we give a lot of money to FEMA to maintain our roads. So if you just sit down in the office and look at just books, 1 + 1, 2 accuracy, it's not enough. What of efficiency, what of value for money? Are the roads being maintained, are they done? So we also got a report, performance report from the Auditor General of the Federation on FEMA. Similarly on the National Center for Disease Control, and then we also have on the NEC, National Electric Regulation Commission. We also have similar report on MBET, Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading Company. So we've written them to appear and defend the issues raised by the Auditor General in this performance audit reports. So we're looking into all the queries. Then there's another issue that is very topical that we've dealt with. That has to do with rendition of accounts. ITATO, about over 300 agencies, NDAs, refused to render accounts. But my deputy, Honorable Abdul Kadiri, raised a motion on the floor, and we got a referral to investigate on rendition. But I'm happy to tell you now that we now have about 90% rendition. 90% rendition, because all the agencies are now know that it's an issue, that it amounts to gross disobedience, negligence of duty, if you fail to render accounts as at when due.
The National Assembly has passed the 2021 budget, which has also been assented to by Mr. President in December. What's your expectation from the NTA so that we avoid the loopholes and the pitfalls that we've experienced in the previous years concerning the rendition of accounts by the various MDAs?
The MDAs should stand up and be on their toes. They should understand that the Appropriation Bill law, Act, is a law that should be implemented to the letter. Agreed that budget estimates is an estimate, you may not realize the revenue. More so that we're financing this 2021 budget law with about 5 trillion naira to be borrowed. But then, the funds that are available, the projects that are available, the various MDAs should stand up. We've been able to align the normal financial year from January to December. So the case of overlapping is no longer there. So we expect that every MDAs should, stand up before now, even before the budget passage. The Public Procurement Act, Section 18 of that Act emphasized that MDAs will have done what we call needs assessment, market survey, right? They will have in advance, determined the method of procurement and ensure that the cost of those projects are captured in the budget. So they've done, the primary work has been done so far. And upon passage of the budget, I expect them to hit the road, and if they need be, Section 24 made open competitive bidding as a default method of procurement. But if because of the emergency situation, COVID-19 situation that we have at hand, yes, they can deploy emergency window to procure, and that will make their job faster, you know. And when the emergency abates, then they can now report back to BPP, you know, in compliance with the provisions of the law. So the MDAs have no excuses. They have no excuses, you know. All our activities are now almost auto. You have a TSA accounting system, you know, so from a single window, you know what has accrued, you know what has been spent. So I expect the MDAs to deliver, you know, based on the Appropriation Act. The another issue that I need to commend Customs on was the query raised by the Auditor General of the Federation, where he observed that the revenue profile of Customs, FIRS, DPR, and NPR has dwindled, has shrinked. You know, and why didn't Parliament find out what are the causes? And that's what we call Customs. And they give us a array of reasons: personnel shortage, you know, automation, which they are doing now, you know, and we also have issue of sharp practices. Sharp practices. Nigerians importers not paying the right duty, or Customs not collecting the right amount of duty. We also have people abusing the schemes such as transfer pricing scheme, tax avoidance. You know, like people setting up subsidiaries companies in the Mauritius, in Seychelles, in Dubai, UAE, in Hong Kong. These companies are owned by them 100%. So, and the invoice of the goods they import is from their own company, not from the manufacturer. In other words, they have the capacity of tampering with the actual cost of an item. As a matter of fact, they can discount it by 80%. And so what Nigerian Customs can can charge duty on is 20%. You know, so we're looking at all those kind of things. People also import equipment and assets. And you go to Federal Ministry of Industries and claim capital allowances using a different value. So you are blowing us on two grands. One, you have evaded duty. You're also evading tax. But if you are not technical, if you don't have the know-how, the knowledge gap, you might just think it's just tax avoidance. Okay, it's lawful. TP is lawful, so let them go. But who bleeds? Nigeria. So we are looking at that.
And that is our package for today. We thank you for watching. Bye for now.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online. Or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
There is an epidemic affecting individuals in every community, regardless of age, economic status, gender, race, religion, or nationality. It is called domestic violence. It can take a number of forms, including physical, verbal, emotional, economic, religious, or sexual abuse. The ultimate aim of domestic violence is to gain and maintain total control over its victim. Domestic violence does not discriminate. It happens among people of all ages, ethnic background, and economic levels. While women are more commonly victimized, men are also abused, especially verbally and emotionally, although sometimes even physically as well. Unfortunately, domestic violence is among the most underreported crimes worldwide for both men and women. An abuser doesn't play fair. He or she uses fear, guilt, shame, and intimidation to wear down his or her victims and keep them perpetually under his or her control. Abusers may often seem wonderful and perfect initially, but gradually become more aggressive and controlling as the relationship continues. Here are some signs of abusive tendencies: showing jealousy of the victim's family and friends, accusing victim of cheating, controlling who the victim sees, where they go, or what they do, preventing the victim from making his or her own decision, intimidating the victim with guns, knives, or other weapons. Noticing and acknowledging the signs of an abusive relationship is the first step to ending it. Therefore, abusive behavior is never acceptable, whether it is coming from a man or a woman, a teenager or an older adult. We all deserve to be valued, respected, and safe.
My brother, my sister, papa, mama, and pikin. Corona, no big pass us. We go fight time, we go win. As long as we remember to always do the right thing. Wash your hands, love each other, we go win. Oh. Corona, na the virus, we dey worry human being. E no get Lego, but e dey waka from person to person. But we fit beat am, we fit stop am if we maintain good hygiene and practice social distancing. We go win. Oh. No shaking hands with your neighbor.